going to go politics, then topical youth and overview,
then the plan flaw,
genocide,
ASPEC, solvency,
which you may want to fill on a different sheet of paper.
hedge, China, deco review, critique.
the critique's on bottom, but I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm dividing the critique.
Don't worry, it'll make it flow okay. Trust me.
Good. The lesson for this debate is that you cannot go for impact turns to your critique and not answer the other team's framework for impact claims or no value to life. We have a couple conceded arguments.
Debate in schools has been around for decades. Different forms of debate have since evolved from the activity, and many divisions and styles now exist under the umbrella of speech and debate. Some form of forensics exists in almost all high schools, and policy debate specifically exists in about a quarter of American high schools. Many, but not most, elite universities, including Harvard, Stanford, Georgetown, Dartmouth, and Northwestern, have policy debate programs. These tend to be the strongest.
This is Ms. Ulrich, the Director of Debate at Northview High School.
I think the first big thing is that it helps kids get the research experience that they need for college, especially if they're college-minded. No matter what type of speech or debate that they choose to compete in, all of them have a research component. And so that, I think, is a humongous benefit to learn how to do those skills and outside of just a project for an English class, but to really learn how to choose a topic, pursue finding research on it on their own, and build a series of arguments around that. I think it's a great thing in general to feel like you are acknowledging and rewarding somebody for being smart. And that's essentially what speech and debate does. And I think there are some great things to be said for an activity that rewards and acknowledges intelligence and ingenuity and creativity. And that's speech and debate. I choose to coach it because I believe in all three of those things very much so. Plus, I think they're pretty much the best group of kids in the entire world. I think first off, you need to be willing to read, and read a lot, and read pretty much anything you can get your hands on. That's one of the things that can really hurt a debater is if they are not super good at actually reading tough materials, and you learn to be good at reading tough materials by reading a lot of things. I think that's the first big tip that I would say. And secondly, seek out people who are willing to help you when you are trying to figure out what you are learning. Because beyond just your coach, there are lots of other people who can help support. Coaches judge debates and understand debates, so do former debaters and competitors. So we have a lot of kids that come back from their senior year to work with younger kids. We have a lot of people who come from colleges to be judges at tournaments. There are even some parents who have experience with it from when they were kids themselves that come back and help too. But ideally, we really focus on at Northview trying to make sure that our own students, as they progress, work with, as they gain more learning and understanding about it, the younger kids who are learning it too. So we look at our own team as being masters who can also teach and explain.
In a high school policy option debate, speeches are timed. In the 60s, a debater named David Seikel introduced a strategy called the spread, where he started speaking slightly faster than his opponent so that he could fit more arguments into his timed speeches. Until that time, high school debate was an activity that more closely resembled what we usually picture when we think of high school debate. A large auditorium, clean-cut boy in a blazer, shirt and tie, standing behind a podium, speaking eloquently, persuasively. Since the invention of this new strategy called the spread, eloquence and persuasion took a backseat to debates which placed a greater emphasis on information and academic research.
As the debates grew faster and faster, a jargon, a sort of shorthand for speaking that allowed the debaters to say more with less, was developed. Over time, the number of people who could even understand a high school debate round became fewer and fewer. Crowds dwindled. Eventually there were only two groups of people left in the activity: those who could understand a high school debate and those select few who could actually compete in one.
Sanctions won't pass, but it's close. Obama's lobbying is key to sustain Democrats. Bowman 123. Democratic senators are signaling their opposition to sanctions passages and increasing analytic Democratic leads.
Hey, hi, I'm Ashi Kalra. I'm a junior at Northview High School, and I am a part of the debate and speech team at Northview.
My name's Mahima, and I'm a sophomore here, and I've been debating since my freshman year, and I do policy debate. And I went to camp at Emory last summer, so yeah. my name is Priya Sharma, and I go to Alpharetta High School, and I'm a debater there.
Calvin Mai, I'm a junior, and I am vice captain of Lincoln Douglas Debate.
Well, I knew a bunch of people that did debate, honestly, but then I kind of like grew to like the activity a lot once I like actively became involved in it.
I first got interested in debate because my parents forced me to join it.
Well, for me, my brother debated here, and so I was kind of obliged to debate as well, but a lot of my friends were doing it too, like Saish and Shiveli and all them were, and so it was just a lot of fun to come to meetings and all, so yeah.
Well, I joined debate because I like to talk, figured this would be a productive way of talking.
My mom, she found this Emory summer camp at like the summer of my 8th grade year, like rising freshman, and she was like, oh Ashi, since you're a really shy person, you should go learn some debate and like get rid of this like public speaking fear you have. So I was like, okay, I'll go. So for 2 weeks I went to Emory, learned the basics of debate, and then I contacted Miss Ulrich about it, and I was like, okay, I'm really interested. So that's how I actually got started.
I was terrified because it's just like a bunch of people talking really fast, and I'm just like, what? But I enjoy it now.
My first impression of debate was that it was scary, but over time, it became a lot more easier, it became more natural for me, and now I really enjoy it.
I was like really surprised because it wasn't anything like what debate is like supposed to be. Like you imagine debate to be a person, like you in front of like this gigantic auditorium like full of people, but that's like not what it is at all. It's like you in a room with like 3 other people and like a judge, and like that's it. It's like not like you in front of like a gigantic audience, but it's also like different because you have to speak at a very like rapid pace to get like a bunch of information in, which is like not what I expected at all. So it was like kind of crazy at first, but I really like it now.
So there is a lot of research. You can't have an argument without any evidence. So like right here behind me is like an example of like how we do the research. It's like we have this broad topic like about like feminism or like race or something like that, and then we find evidence and cut those into specific cards or like blocks of evidence where we highlight the important stuff, and that's where we like introduce that into the debate.
The style of debate like we do is focused a lot on like foreign policy and just like policy making, so it's really like important to keep up with like, the current political climate and just like what's going on.
Lincoln Douglas debate is about questions that are of a deeper moral or philosophical nature. Here, the debate will be about big issue or moral questions, such as whether we should prioritize security or liberty. The topic changes every 2 months and is standardized across the country. Whereas arguments of pragmatics often are effective in policy debate, Lincoln Douglas debate is more often about the principles and philosophy, and Lincoln Douglas cases are structured around a philosophical objective, with arguments supporting why that objective ought to be valued over all else. Policy debate is a very rigorous format, which requires a great deal of research, leaving the student an expert on a specific area. Students across the country prepare for and debate on a single, broad topic selected by the National Forensic League for the entire academic year. Topics vary widely by year. However, all topics are about big-picture issues that policymakers consider, such as how to protect the marine environment and U.S. support of UN peacekeeping operations. The result of having a single year-long topic that is standardized across the country is that students become experts in the topic. Furthermore, policy debate is a 2-on-2 format. A student and one partner compete against other teams of 2 students at tournaments, while Lincoln Douglas debate is the only format that is 1-on-1. Some students prefer the style for the ability to control your own destiny.
The favorite thing about debate is the community. I really, because like everyone, there's a gigantic debate community, and we're all very close to each other because like obviously like, you know, we all go to like camps over the summer for like from 4 to like 7 weeks, and you know, we all like kind of bond there, and everyone can like bond over having like a mutual activity, you know, stuff like that. So that would be my favorite thing about debate, like definitely. I mean, like some of my best friends are like from debate, and well, I also obviously like the fact that I get like I've like improved like my speaking skills because of debate, and it's been good.
Debate teaches you a lot of life skills. For example, you learn how to speak in front of other people. It makes you a lot less nervous about speaking in front of others. At the same time, you also learn how to argue against other people when you don't have, when you meet people that don't necessarily agree with your point of view.
Well, I've met a lot of new people. I made a lot of new friends from like other schools and from Northview too. And so it's been really great to just like go to tournaments and see people you haven't seen in forever.
Cool experience. I also like that it's just one of the activities where I've kind of like found my niche in.
Like, I guess the favorite thing is just having like competitions in general, just going there and like meeting my friends, debating them, be like, oh hey, look, a friend from Alpharetta, oh I'm debating you. Like, it's just so cool and a nice way to interact with people around.
All the people that go to summer camp for policy, right? And they spent like half
Debate, the competition to outperform is higher, and the educational aspect is greater. It continues to be a growing force in high school by emphasizing more on information and research rather than on one's eloquence.
LD's more logic than just here's the evidence.
I love debate so much. It's great. I'll miss it next year.